Well, the day has finally come. I have to work on my F150. This is a 2011 F150 with the 3.5 liter EcoBoost engine, and I have a coolant leak. Not only that, but I'm due for an oil change, and this truck has 191,000 miles on it. I was hoping to do some maintenance things on it around 200,000 miles, so this is pretty close. Since I am going to be digging into the front of this, I'm going to go ahead and replace the water pump and flush the cooling system as well, even though the leak seems to be near the thermostat housing. I'm going to go ahead and get tearing apart all this stuff here. First, I'm going to get all these intake hoses out of the way, and so I can reach down in there and get to the water pump. I also need to take that cover off and drain the coolant that's already in the system. As you can see, I have taken a lot of hoses and stuff apart, taken the top cover off the engine, taken the throttle body off. I took the intake hose down to that turbocharger, the splitter here, and I've moved some other stuff out of the way, as well as gotten a lot of the coolant hoses out of the way, and I've made a huge mess. Yeah, next step is I am going to take apart the thermostat housing here, install the new thermostat, and then I'm going to take this entire housing off and start pulling the water pump off as well. Oh yeah, and real quickly, this is the stuff that I've taken off the engine so far. So I've got the cover. This is one of the intake pipes down to the turbocharger. Here's another intake pipe, more intake piping, some vapor lines, throttle body, yeah, all that stuff. Alright, I wanted to show you this quick comparison of the old thermostat. And you can see this has got like a little rubber bit. And this is the new one. This one is a, similar design but doesn't have the rubber bit. They're two different brands. This one is a 187. This one says 188 Fahrenheit. The other thing to notice is this is a Motorcraft brand. So this is very possibly the original thermostat, and it's possible it's been replaced again with a Motorcraft, but very possible the original one. So this has almost 200,000 miles on it. It's recommended probably to replace that sooner, but sooner rather than later, I guess. Oh, and this is the thermostat housing, and that's the old gasket on there. We're going to be replacing that as well. Now, one more thing I want to point out before I completely tighten this down is I've got this finger tight right now, new thermostats in their new seal. You want to tighten these little by little back and forth until it's snug. You don't want to really crank down on this, and you want to go back and forth. I've actually cracked one of these housings before, and then you just have to go get a new housing. So one less part you have to replace if you're careful. But yeah, back and forth, slow, just snug. That's it. All right, we got the thermostat housing out of the way. You can still see some more coolant coming out there. This is our water pump right here. I'm going to loosen the bolts on that pulley, and then I'm going to take the tension off the belt and slip it off that pulley, and then we should be able to remove the old water pump. All right, I want to show you something. I was thinking that the leak was coming from this area or right here. Both of those are dry. However, there's a lot of buildup right here near the weep hole on this water pump. Also, let me show you something. I don't know if you can see that, but that moves a lot. And it is not supposed to do that. Let me show you the new one. You see this new one? It's a little hard to show you, but it doesn't move at all. So I definitely had a bad water pump. It's not what I thought it was, but it's a good thing I planned on replacing the water pump anyway. We have the old water pump out, and it says right here for FOMOCO. Also, this is the seal on the back, and it also says FOMOCO. I believe this is the original one, and it's never been replaced. So potentially original thermostat, potentially original water pump. 200,000 miles, not bad. Another thing I noticed is this original water pump here. These little fins here are plastic. On this new one I got, they are metal. So maybe this will be better. I mean, these fins aren't broken. It's probably not that big of a deal. But I do like to see metal things instead of plastic things. Just a personal preference. Alright, there it is, our shiny new water pump, and as you can see, no play, unlike the old one. It's so shiny and clean compared to the rest of the engine, but after I put everything together, I'm going to hit it with some degreaser, hose it down, should look a lot nicer. Well, the truck is all put back together. I did not film the rest of flushing the cooling system and adding the fresh coolant because it was getting too dark to film. Anyway, I finished all that. I replaced the oil. Didn't record that because there's nothing terribly exciting about it. You know, just replacing the old dinosaurs with new dinosaurs. I've driven it to work 2 days in a row now. No coolant leaks, no overheating. Everything seems to be good to go. There's one final point I want to make with this video is that this is a fairly complicated engine. It's a fairly new engine, and I hear excuses all the time about people who say, oh, I don't want a newer vehicle, or I don't want to do my own work on my newer vehicle because it's just too complicated. I am not a professional mechanic. I have a decent amount of experience because I've owned a lot of vehicles, but this is one of the more complicated engines I've worked on, and I didn't have any issues taking it apart or repairing it. There are more things to work on, or more things to take apart and stuff in an engine like this than an engine like in an older vehicle like the GMC that you might have seen on my channel. But this, you can do this. Anybody can work on these engines. It just takes a little time and a little research and a little confidence. Anyway, there is a link to our Discord down in the description. Join that. We can talk about tools or cars or send memes or talk about what you ate for lunch. I don't care. Anyway, I'm trying to build a community there. Be great to see you there. And I guess I'll see you in the next video.